The Theory of Moral Sentiments by Adam Smith. Part 2. Of Merit and Demerit, or of the Objects of Reward and Punishment, consisting of 3 sections. Section 1. Of the Sense of Merit and Demerit. Chapter 4. Recapitulation of the foregoing chapters. 1. We do not therefore thoroughly and heartily sympathize with the gratitude of one man towards another, merely because this other has been the cause of his good fortune, unless he has been the cause of it from motives which we entirely go along with. Our heart must adopt the principles of the agent and go along with all the affections which influenced his conduct, before it can entirely sympathize with, and beat time to, the gratitude of the person who has been benefited by his actions. If in the conduct of the benefactor there appears to have been no propriety, how beneficial soever its effects, it does not seem to demand, or necessarily to require, any proportionable recompense. But when to the beneficent tendency of the action is joined to the propriety of affection from which it proceeds, when we entirely sympathize and go along with the motives of the agent, the love which we conceive for him upon his own account enhances and enlivens our fellow feeling with the gratitude of those who owe their prosperity to his good conduct. His actions seem then to demand, and if I may say so, to call aloud for the proportionable recompense. We then entirely enter into that gratitude which prompts us to bestow it. The benefactor seems then to be the proper object of reward. When we thus entirely sympathize with and approve of that sentiment which prompts us to reward him, when we approve of and go along with the affection from which the action proceeds, we must necessarily approve of the action, and regard the person towards whom it is directed as its proper and suitable object. In the same manner, we cannot at all sympathize with the resentment of one man against another, merely because this other has been the cause of his misfortune, unless he has been the cause of it from motives which we cannot enter into. Before we can adopt the resentment of the sufferer, we must disapprove of the motives of the agent and feel that our heart renounces all sympathy with the affections which influence his conduct. If there appears to have been no impropriety in these, how fatal soever the tendency of the action which proceeds from them to those against whom it is directed, it does not seem to deserve any punishment, or to be the proper object of any resentment. But when to the hurtfulness of the action is joined the impropriety of the affection from whence it proceeds, when our heart rejects with abhorrence all fellow feeling with the motive of the agent, we then heartily and entirely sympathize with the resentment of the sufferer. Such actions seem then to deserve, and, if I may say so, to call aloud for a proportionable punishment, and we entirely enter into, and thereby approve of, that resentment which prompts us to inflict it. The offender necessarily seems, then, to be the proper object of punishment, when we thus entirely sympathize with, and thereby approve of, that sentiment which prompts us to punish. In this case, too, when we approve and go along with the affection from which the action proceeds, we must necessarily approve of the action, and regard the person against whom it is directed as its proper and suitable object.